Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today we are going deep on 10 common English phrases.
Yes, these are really designed to help beginners sound more natural in their everyday conversations.
Right. We found this really cool little guide.
Yeah.
It outlines the phrases, what they mean, some examples of how to use them, and a few different ways you could vary them.
Absolutely.
So this is a great resource for anyone who is learning English,
Exactly.
or for anyone who wants to just brush up on their basics.
Yeah, I think for our listeners out there, whether they're planning a trip or connecting with English speakers or just curious about the language itself, understanding these phrases can be like a huge boost to their confidence and their comprehension.
Yeah.
So we'll go beyond just the words themselves. We'll look at why these phrases are so common and how to use them effectively.
All right, well, let's get started with the first phrase. This is one that just about everyone encounters. How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Such a simple phrase,
Yes,
but it's often the starting point for so many interactions.
it is.
So what's the deal with how are you?
Well, as our source points out, it's a polite inquiry into someone's well-being.
Right.
And typically you'll get a very concise response like, how are you? I'm good, thanks.
Right.
Even though it's such a short exchange, it really sets a positive tone for the conversation. It's like a little verbal handshake to get things going.
I like that.
Yeah.
A verbal handshake.
Yeah.
I like that. So sometimes you'll also hear people say, how's it going?
Yeah.
Is that basically the same thing?
It is very similar to how are you?
Okay.
It serves the same purpose of opening a conversation and showing interest in the other person.
Right.
But how's it going can often feel a bit more casual.
Okay, so how are you
Yeah.
is maybe a little bit more formal.
Yeah, I'd say how are you is your kind of like standard go-to greeting, whereas how's it going is maybe something you'd say to someone you see more regularly or are a bit more familiar with.
Gotcha.
But in most everyday situations, they're pretty much interchangeable.
All right. Well, moving on to meeting people, we have the phrase, what's your name?
Yes.
This is pretty essential for introductions.
It's very direct
It is.
and necessary.
Yeah.
You gotta know who you're talking to.
You do.
Our source lays out a very typical exchange. Hi, what's your name? I'm Alex.
Right.
But it also mentions a more casual phrasing, and you are.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that one before too.
Yeah.
What's the difference there?
Well, and you are is a little less direct.
Yeah.
It's more of an indirect approach to asking someone's name. Often you'll use this after you've already introduced yourself.
Okay.
Or in a situation where it's kind of implied that you'll be exchanging names.
Right.
Like maybe you're in a small group and a few introductions already happened.
Yeah.
So slipping in with, and you are, just feels a little smoother
Right.
than coming right out and saying, what's your name? It's a gentler way of inviting them to share their name.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So once you have the name, often the next polite step is to say, nice to meet you.
Yes, exactly.
That's the go-to friendly phrase right after an introduction.
Absolutely.
The source gives the example, nice to meet you, Sarah. You too.
Yeah.
Which I think shows perfectly how it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's a reciprocal phrase.
Right.
You say it to acknowledge that you're happy to meet them.
Right.
And they say it back to show the same.
And it's almost automatic to respond, you too.
It is. Like
Yeah.
you almost don't even think about it.
Right. It's just a natural response.
Right.
But yeah, it goes a long way in creating a positive first impression.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about a phrase that is super important for anyone learning a new language.
Okay.
And that is, I don't understand.
Yes.
It's so important to be able to say that without feeling embarrassed or anything.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
This phrase clearly communicates that you haven't grasped what was said
Right.
and that you need some clarification. The source gives a good example. Sorry, I don't understand. Can you repeat that? Notice how the sorry softens the statement,
Right.
makes it more polite. And then the direct request, can you repeat that, shows that you're actively trying to understand.
Yeah.
So it's not that the other person isn't speaking clearly.
Right.
It's just that you need a little help.
Right.
So being able to ask for repetition or for someone to rephrase what they said is key to effective communication.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you don't miss out on important information.
And the conversation can keep flowing.
Absolutely.
All right, so what about if you need some help? What's the magic phrase for that?
Well, that would be, can you help me?
Can you help me?
It's a very straightforward and polite way to ask for assistance.
Right.
And the source gives a perfect example. Excuse me, can you help me find this address? Notice how they start with, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's a polite way to get someone's attention before you make your request. Shows respect for their time and space.
Okay.
Makes the request feel less demanding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a phrase that's super practical in everyday life.
Okay.
How much is this?
Ah, yes, the essential shopping phrase.
Essential.
You gotta know how much things cost.
You do?
This phrase directly asks for the price of an item.
Right.
The source gives the example, how much is this shirt? It's $20.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a scenario that we all encounter pretty regularly.
All the time.
Yeah. And what's so interesting about this phrase is it's so direct and universally understood.
Yeah.
No matter what you're buying or where you are in the world,
Yeah.
this simple question will get you the information you need.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about another super useful question,
Okay.
especially when you're in a new place.
Okay.
That's where is the grai?
Yes. This is your go-to for getting directions.
It is.
If you need to find a specific place, this is the phrase to use.
The example they give is where is the bathroom? It's down the hall.
Classic.
Classic, yeah.
Everyone's got to find the bathroom at some point.
At some point, right.
But the beauty of this structure, where is the ball, is that it's so versatile.
Right.
You can plug in pretty much any location you need to find.
Yeah.
The train station, a specific store, and the nearest exit.
Right.
Whatever you're looking for, you just put it after where is ball,
Right.
and you're good to go.
It's so simple,
It is.
but effective.
Very effective.
All right, let's move on to a phrase that really highlights the social aspect of language.
Okay.
And that is, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry is such an important phrase.
It is.
It's how we express apology or regret
Right.
when we've made a mistake or caused someone an inconvenience.
The example they give is, I'm sorry I'm late,
Yeah.
which is something that I think we've all said at some point.
We all have,
Yeah.
but just those three little words carry a lot of weight.
They do.
You're acknowledging that you messed up and that you feel bad about it.
Right.
And being able to apologize is so important for maintaining good relationships.
Absolutely.
And even if it's for something small.
Okay, so along with apologizing, it's also important to be able to express gratitude.
Absolutely.
And for that, we have the phrase, thank you.
Yeah, you got to be able to thank people.
You do.
Thank you is a simple but powerful way to express your appreciation.
Right.
And the source gives a few variations on this. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate it.
Right.
And what's interesting here is that each of these expresses a slightly different level of intensity. So thanks a lot is generally a little stronger than a simple thank you,
Right.
while I appreciate it suggests a more thoughtful or significant kind of thanks.
Yeah.
So which one you choose depends on the context,
Right.
how much someone helped you, or the gesture they made.
Right.
You know, if someone holds a door open for you, thank you is probably sufficient.
Right.
But if someone goes out of their way to do you a big favor, then I appreciate it might be more fitting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, we arrive at the polite way to end a conversation.
Yes, goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's the standard way to signal that the conversation is over and that you're taking your leave.
Right.
But as our source mentions, there are other ways to say goodbye as well, like see you later and take care.
Yeah.
So which one you use depends on the situation
Right.
and whether or not you expect to see the person again soon.
See you later implies that you will be seeing them again,
Right.
whereas take care is more general.
It is.
Yeah.
And often a little bit more formal.
Right.
So it's like you're wishing them well
Right.
as you part ways.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you have it.
There you go.
10 fundamental phrases for navigating everyday English conversations.
Yes. How are you? What's your name? Nice to meet you.
I don't understand.
Help me?
How much is this?
Where is the dart?
Thank you. And goodbye. So as you, our listener, start using these phrases more and more, think about how even these simple exchanges can be a gateway to more in-depth conversations
Absolutely.
and a deeper understanding of the language.
It's not just about memorizing words. It's
Yeah.
about gaining the confidence to actually use the language.
To connect with people.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a final thought for you.
Okay.
Think about other common situations you've encountered or might encounter in your daily life. What other basic phrases might be helpful in those moments?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, because really exploring these 10 phrases is just the beginning.
It is.
The key is to keep practicing, stay curious, and don't be afraid to engage.
Exactly.
That's what will really help you on your language journey.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today for another deep dive,
It was a pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See you later.